All right, first and foremost, all thanks and praises unto our power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Warakwadash. Peace, blessings, much respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the rest of the elders who rule well within Israel. Salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like, pushing out this purified truth. To the rest of the church who believe as well, you men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons and daughters also. The water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. Being in this ministry, it's like you experience every emotion possible. There's times you'll be feeling good, like you can conquer the world. Then there's other times you just feel beat up, defeated, used up. You feel like you're running, but you're running on a treadmill, or like you're not getting anywhere. You're doing everything you can, and yet you're still stationary in the same place. These are feelings that may come across your thoughts being in this ministry. We've taken losses. We've given up everything for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Men come from various backgrounds, various talents, things that they could have done. But yet they set aside those things to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So Lord willing, this lesson, it can be simple and edifying and be used to help encourage men, because I speak to men first. This whole society is helping out women. This whole society encourages women. Strength is women. But no one's really strengthening the man, especially when it comes to the Israelite man. You know, we live a very burdensome life. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So the more you increase in this truth, you're going to feel mental sorrow, mental anguish, mental pain, mental agony. And it can happen randomly. It can happen suddenly. You can be all right one minute. You can take a nap and literally wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Wake up with thoughts weighing you down. It's just how it is, man. But we have to encourage one another, because the world's not going to do it. There's not too many men like us. There's not too many people like us in a world where people just don't care. Even people in the world can admit, they can testify, there's no love in this world. People are fake. Well, how much more when you're in this ministry, when you're contrary to this world? People don't really consider or ponder what we go through when they insult us, when they say things about us. No one really gives a damn about your feelings. Even men in this ministry who claim to be believers, a lot of them are fraudulent. A lot of women who claim to be believers are fraudulent. So it's very rare to come across someone who's sincere, someone who can understand, someone who cares. This world just beats you down constantly. And then when you express these things, who understands? Who can really understand you? For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So we're going to witness these feelings of sorrowness, these pains that come into our minds, and they can come so suddenly. And some men They may come more often than others. It may be a woman you're with. You're pondering on if she's faithful to you. You might have children. You know, you're pondering on their safety when you send them off to school. It may be you presenting lessons, but it seems like people are not biting. You're doing things to feed the flock, but it's like the flock don't want to eat. And I've made an example some time ago. Us being in this ministry is likened unto a table that's being set up. You got your forks, you got your knives, you got your plates, everything's ready. The food's ready to be served, but no one really shows up to the table and eat. But yet, it's still our duty to set up the meal anyway, knowing that a lot of times people are not going to come and eat. People are not going to come and dine. What do you think that does to your mind? What do you think that does to a person's mind? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 25. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. So when you're feeling lowly and your thoughts are weighing down on you, naturally it makes you stoop your head down. It puts you in a humble state of mind. The Lord will do certain things to us to see what we're made of, to test us. And a lot of the fire that we go through, most of it really is in our mind. And the mind is a very wicked place. The mind is a very vulnerable place. And if you're not rooted in this ministry, it won't be too long before eventually you're uprooted. We're told how these feelings will come upon us, feelings of sorrow and grief or whatnot. But the hope is that when we bring out these words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, we not only encourage ourselves, we encourage others who believe, others who hear. Because it's very difficult to try to balance out your life here in Babylon and serve the Lord to the best of your ability. Everything is against you. Your flesh has all these wants and desires, and most of the time you can't even have them. Most of the time, when you look at something, you're better off just closing your eyes, because it's like you see a beautiful woman, she's probably taken. And if she's not taken, she's probably a demon, right? And if she's not a demon and if she's not taken, she may not even be feeling you. It's always something in this society. You work a job to pay your bills, but you hate your job. You might make decent amount of money, but your job sucks. You may not make a whole lot of money, but it's more tolerable than the job you had before making more money. You know, you always run into these pros and cons. We get tired of pros and cons, man. We're ready for a kingdom where everything is pros. Everything is for our benefit and our favor. Heaviness in the heart of man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. And that good word is found within the Bible, the Holy Scriptures. And that's what we bring out. This good word. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 14. In verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of a 10th part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So our biggest battle, I would have to say, is battling our thoughts. You know, is your wife loyal to you? Is your family gonna make it? And I'm speaking of, you know, your woman and your children. Are you a man of the Lord? How long do you got to keep clocking into this punk ass job that you hate so much? How long you got to keep dealing with car problems? How long you have to keep dealing with non-believers and, you know, things that your body puts you through? Everything is weighing us down. But we are to set these thoughts aside, and that's something that I feel I can work on, because I'm the type to ponder on things. I'm the type that when I think on certain things, I can think very deeply, and sometimes I get lost in it. And that can be good and bad. I can analyze, and then other times I can overanalyze. And we all have our things that we wrestle with. We all have things that we have to work on. And mine's, one of them would be setting aside heavy thoughts. Because I have a lot of thoughts that come into my mind just randomly. And sometimes they stick. Sometimes I can just move on and get over it. But it just kind of varies. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So we have to set aside thoughts that are most heavy unto us. And that's not easy. Okay? Let's go to Psalms. Chapter 31 and verse 9. Have mercy upon me, O Lord Yahweh, for I am in trouble. Mine eye is consumed with grief, yea, my soul and my belly. For my life is spent with grief, and my years with sighing, my strength faileth. So as it says here, hey, how you doing? So as it says here, you'll feel a lot of grief, and that comes with serving the Most High. How's your day going?
Praise God.
I know that's right. You having a good day so far?
You know what? Started my day off with my prayers, knowing that there is a God.
That's right.
Okay.
The fact that all this nature around us, you can walk and talk,
Psalms 19,
that's not done by mistake.
But it's man and his foolish heart
That's right.
that wants to separate himself from the God of all creation.
That's true. And with all these distractions around us and burdens and things that we deal with, it makes it easier to say that there's no God.
The lesson from Lot, look at what he lived in, the environment.
Mm-hmm.
He had to have been vexed.
Absolutely.
Guess what? We're being vexed.
It tells you that in 2 Peter's, I believe, that he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked.
Guess what? But see, Ecclesiastes says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed
Speedily.
Therefore, the hearts of men is full of setting them to do evil.
That's right. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11.
That's right.
Yeah.
So guess what? And we're seeing it. We're witnessing this. But brother, I'm going to leave you with this. To know the awesomeness of the God that we serve from the foundation of creation.
That's right.
He's God of past, present, and future. He knew this moment was going to happen. So may the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, God, your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Faithful is he who called you.
I appreciate that.
Who will complete the work that he started in you.
I hope so.
He will. Hey, it's in his word. His word is true.
It's all about predestination.
Guess what? Those he called, those he predestinated, them he also called. Them he called, he also justified. And then he justified, he also glorified.
That's out the word. That's right. That's right.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'll leave you because...
Hey, the Lord made you say that. The Lord brought your steps across my path to say what you said.
He's God of the past, present, and future. He knew this moment was going to happen.
He's an ancient of days.
But remember, brother, you are a living testimony of his word, his power, his grace, and his mercy. Let that light that's in you shine forth. Okay? So as you minister, remember, your life is a ministry. As you minister to others, you're being ministered to in return. So to God be the glory.
I appreciate
blessed
that.
be the name of the Lord.
I appreciate
See you later.
that. You have a good one.
You too.
This is Psalms chapter 31 and verse 10. For my life is spent with grief, and my years with sighing. My strength faileth because of mine iniquity, and my bones are consumed. So we go through all this grief, all these different burdens that we have to deal with because of our sins, our iniquities, for the Lord to keep us humble at the same time. You know, it's a number of things, but you know, it's not done in vain. And seeing that we live in a wicked world, it only makes sense for us to be vexed if we have a contrary mind towards this society. I don't like how this world is set up. I don't like how people look at the Most High Yahweh and His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai. They really take them as a fairy tale or as a joke or very lightly, which is just silly as hell. You know, going through grief and all these different things that we have to bear, certain people, they'll say, well, there's no Most High, there's no God, because of that mental anguish that they suffered. And there's a whole lot that can come into your mind, man. You know, like I said, you might question, are you a man of the Lord? You might question, you know, now how are you going to get through the week? You might wake up for a fresh week, a new start of the week, and you wake up out of bed and it's on your mind like, man, you sighing like, how in the hell am I going to get through this week, man? Again, you know, you might have a woman. You wonder if your woman's faithful. You wonder if your woman is going to be saved. You wonder if your children are going to be saved, if they look at you like you bugged out or they actually believe you. You might have anxiety when it comes to going out on the streets and teaching this word. You might deal with bipolar in terms of, you know, your attitude. You might be a person who you're kind of shy, but this word kind of requires you to put yourself out there, and that kind of, you know, affects you. These are just random things that I'm just trying to think of at the top of my head. I could have wrote things down for better examples, but I didn't. So King David himself, who was a great man, he experienced grief. So how much more us who are in captivity, who are under our oppressors, you know? Let's read Psalms 31 and 9 again. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am in trouble. Mine eye is consumed with grief, yea, my soul and my belly. So we're consumed in grief, man. We're constantly going through afflictions. We're constantly feeling it. But these same feelings remind us too that we are definitely in the truth. These same feelings also remind us that we are definitely alive. Okay? For my life is spent with grief, and my tears with sighing. And to sigh all the time, to be complaining all the time, well, as much as it's uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good, it's actually a good sign at the same time. For my life is spent with grief, and my tears with sighing. My strength faileth because of mine iniquity, and my bones are consumed. So just like David was, really just like David was not, we're not perfect. We go off, we sin. And because of our sins, we have to bear the burdens of grief that comes with it. The thoughts that consume our minds, you know, these things come from our iniquities, and that's why we need to be changed. Because it's not helping us to keep going off even if we don't want to. It's not helping us to keep, you know, sinning against our power, to constantly be put in these positions of being under our enemies. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Matter of fact, no. Let's go to Ezekiel instead. Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So just like King David sighed, we complain, full of grief for many various reasons, you know? I mean, it's really a long list of things that can make us feel down, make us feel unimportant, make us feel like I've said before, like we're just running on a treadmill. These are thoughts that can hit you in this ministry, and that's how serious it gets. But these same thoughts should also remind us that we're in the fight, and this fight is very real. And when these thoughts consume us, when these thoughts of heaviness consume us, it should also be a reminder of men who may have fell out, who couldn't endure, why they may have fell out, and understanding how serious it is, how severe it is to hold on, because it's easy to give up, to throw in the towel, because of your mental anguish plaguing you, really messing with you. And I think overall, our biggest battle is ourselves. Our biggest battle is, fighting the demons that mess with us. Not even so much these wicked women or Esau or these wicked Israelites. They're all part of it, but our biggest battle is up here. Okay? And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, which is speaking of a people before it's a place, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry. And why are these men sighing and crying? Because they're full of heaviness. And when you grow in this ministry, that's something you're going to feel, and it's going to happen at random. There's days you feel charged up, and there's other days you just feel low. And the common person, to feel some of the feelings that we go through, they would end it. If a lot of people experience the feelings that we have to endure at times, they would have ended it. But thanks to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we're still here, we're still pushing, we're still able. No matter how much the suffering hurts sometimes, no matter how lonely we may feel sometimes. And one thing about men always want to come off like they're macho and cocky and, just undefeated. And they don't really put off their vulnerability. Well, being in this ministry, you have to have a sense of vulnerability. You have to lay it out there, because we do this to edify the church. There are people who are weak, who are weaker. We're all weak, but there are people who are weaker. And to be encouraged by these words, they can come just in time. There might be somebody out there who might say this video came right in time. But a lot of people may say, well, I don't even care to click on the video in the first place. But at the end of it all, we have to bear however it comes. We have to bear whatever comes our way, however it comes. And that's hard to do. That's very hard to do. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 1. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. So we cry, we go through all sorts of various afflictions dealing with the oppressor. Okay? And seeing how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has given us this ministry, it doesn't come easy, it doesn't come free. It comes with a lot of sacrifice. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of such as were oppressed. And we're full of those, man. Brothers cry. It's crazy how society's just now kind of mentioning that men actually have feelings. Men actually have emotions. That's insane that all this time women or certain people in general just always felt there's no way men can have feelings because our voices are deeper, we're bigger built, but we can't have feelings. We can't be complaining. We can't have worries. We're supposed to just figure it out, brush it off, and just keep going. That's what this world expects us to do, and that's pretty fucking messed up, man. That's why Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is needed. That's why we need him. We need the comforter, because it's uncomfortable being surrounded by people who are not only being oppressed, but also helping to oppress you. All right? Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So if you were a wise man, you would be oppressed with reaction, a response. It would show. And how would it show? It would show through your complaining. It would show through you doing something about it. And how do we do something about it? Teaching this gospel. Because it's through this gospel going out that the end is going to come. The end is not going to come based off of us picking up arms, picking up gigantic swords. You can hold a sword on your back like Cloud from Final Fantasy. Or you could pick up arms and grab all these different guns. That's not going to bring the end. That's going to bring the end to yourself. Right? But what's bringing the end is this word going out. And as long as this society is standing, we're constantly going to deal with oppression, unfair justice, which is injustice. Just looking at how amazing it is to think, out of all these people on earth, out of all these billions of people on earth, they can't even see what's before them. They can't see how messed up the world is. Well, they might see it, but they can't see how messed up it is from a spiritual perspective. You know, people think money fixes all problems, and if you can accumulate wives, that will fix your problems. If you can get all your heart's desires, that will fix your problems. As long as we're in this flesh, sorrows and heartbreaks, and heartbreaks doesn't just come from you dealing with the woman and her breaking your heart. Heartbreaks just comes in various forms, man. You know, we're tired of coming up short. We're tired of having wants that ain't being met. We're tired of always being put on the waiting list. But we have to wait. We have to suffer. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So if you're a wise man, you'd be mad. Let's go back to what I read before in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and 1. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of such as were oppressed. So that's the point. We cry sometimes. Let's go to Revelations chapter 21 and verse 4. And the power shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So all the secret tears you've cried, all those moments where you were by yourself and the water just started pouring from the eyes, man. All the moments that you felt like you were alone or you didn't know how you were going to do it. Those moments are in the bag, so to speak. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to wipe away all of our tears by giving us immortal bodies, wiping away all of our transgressions, wiping away all the evil memories and evil thoughts that we have in our head. You know, you got to imagine these things because it's not here in front of us right now, but we hope for it. You know, my mind's kind of blank right now, to be honest. Before I did this lesson, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I didn't have nothing in mind at all, you know, but I figured I'd just throw the camera on and fire it on, you know, and see where it goes. And the power shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So at this present time, we go through all this sorrowness of heart, all this, you know, pathetic feelings that come with the flesh. But we will be changed, and it will come to a point where this will be a thing of the past, man. And as much as it doesn't feel like it, this is temporary. It's temporal. There is a limited amount of times that we are going to suffer before it's all over. And we're coming to that point where it's all going to be over. Proverbs 14 and verse 13. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. So even if you might be watching a stand-up comedy, or you might be amongst brethren, you're laughing, enjoying yourself, having a good time, you still find yourself right back in sorrow. You find yourself right back pondering on the same things that were weighing you down in the first place. We're tired of that, man. We're ready for a change. The scriptures tell you how we're going to be changed in a twinkling of an eye. We're going to be changed instantly when them chariots come and return. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. And we deal with a lot of heaviness being in this ministry, and people don't even care. You know? People complain for less. People will come through for them, be buddy-buddy, and care about what they have to say. But the things that we go through in this ministry, the world, for the most part, they just keep us down. Really, they try to keep us down. They can't keep us down. They try to keep us down. You know, they pray to their entities. They pray to what they believe in to come against us, whether it be Satan directly or all these other idols that fall under Satan. You might be feeling heavy in your mind because someone's praying against you. You might feel heavy in your mind because the Lord is about to spiritually level you up. You might be going through heaviness in your mind because something around you is keeping you that way. And as we grow in this ministry, we find ourselves out more and more. You know, hopefully we get better and better and better more and more as time goes by. Even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. So you go right back to sorrow after the good times, bro. You're right back to that heaviness. But the scriptures tell you, as I've read in 2 Ezra 14, to set aside those heavy thoughts. Cast away the burden of man, because it's a burden dwelling on mortal thoughts. There's so much that can go wrong in this world. It weighs on you. But the challenge is not even pondering on those things and focusing on the goal, focusing on the kingdom. That's hard to do. That's a very hard thing to do, but through Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, all things are possible. Nothing is impossible with Yahweh. Hebrews. I gotta find it. This is the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 37. For with the power, nothing shall be impossible. So even if it feels impossible sometime, like, man, how am I going to keep on carrying on? How am I going to keep on, just living this average, normal life every single day? Clocking in, clocking out, dealing with these heavy thoughts, trying to pay bills, being rejected and hated and despised when I'm not even doing wrong to people. It can bring you into a sense of heaviness. It really can. But with knowing that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is with us, nothing will be impossible. Enduring is not impossible with the Lord. Getting past these burdensome thoughts is not impossible with our power. Okay? Psalms chapter 126 and verse 5. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. So we're going through our afflictions now. We go through lowliness of mind now. Our thoughts weighing down on us now. But, at the end of it all, we're going to reap the reward if we keep on going. We're going to be changed and never have to experience sorrow ever again. Because let me tell you, inside this mind up here, it can be a very dark place. It can be a very dark place. But the words of the Lord keep it, lit up, keep it illuminated. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. I'll go to one more. If I can find it. This is Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 19. Woe is me from my hurt, my wound is grievous. But I said, truly this is a grief, and I must bear it. So we have to carry our cross. We have to carry our burdens, just like Yahweh Shai told us. Just like Yahweh Shai did. And knowing that this is not in vain, the pain, the agony, the things that we feel, you're not the only one going through it. I'm not the only one going through it. People in the world go through it. Everybody goes through it. It just happens a little differently being in this truth, because we are in a spiritual battle. There's a show called Lucifer. I think it's what it's called. But in this show, there's an Edomite. He wears a suit and a tie, and he's playing the role of Lucifer. But there's this female in particular that he has his eyes on. And the reason why he has his eyes on this particular woman is because he can't have her as easy as these other women. She was playing hard to get, so to speak. But the fact that she was playing hard to get made Satan want her even more. And that's us in this ministry. Satan has the whole world. But that's not good enough. He's not looking at what he has. He's looking at what he doesn't have, and that's the elect. And he tries everything in his power to get us to fall off. All right? But we have to bear our burden and bear our cross and suffer these things. Like, again, you'll be chilling. You could be feeling good. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, whether it's a thought, it's a couple things, you just feel depressed. Like, where did this come from? You might end up not even wanting to talk. You're just quiet. You're just in your head. But we got to get out of our head, because our head is a dark place. So, Lord willing, This lesson, it was simple and edifying. I didn't really know where I was going with this, man. Like, I'm telling you, my mind right now, I just feel, I just feel blank. But I still wanted to feed the sheep, you know. So I'm going ahead and give all thanks and praises unto our power, the power of Israel, not the power of any other nation. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wabarak Wadash. Shalom.